Hey everyone, hope you're all having a good week. Let's just get straight into it and see what the energies are for us, the collective. Numbers of love, light, high frequency, truth, justice, and peace. What guidance and affirmation do you have for us, the collective, this week? What guidance and affirmation? Okay, we'll just take these for now. So I've just pulled from this Adinkra deck. We have extension of the heart. Symbolizes understanding, agreement, trust, and partnership. We also have leg of a hen. The hen treads on her chicks, but she does not kill them. And then we have UAC lights, a symbol of undesirable technological and economic advancement. So these three. And then at the base of the deck is the ram's horns, which is a symbol of humility and strength. It says, emphasizing that even the strong need to be humble. Okay, so with these three, just starting off with the first one, this is really just generally about trust. And so maybe it's a week for us to make sure that our connections, partnerships, contracts, agreements are all embedded and enveloped within trust. And I guess in saying this, I guess that comes with communication. So whether that's communicating with ourselves, I'm also seeing this as like trust for ourselves and trust for where we're leading ourselves, trust in our connection with our ancestors and source and nature as well. And trust within our own intuition and internal like voices, or navigation, like the ways in which we navigate our own lives. It's important for us to trust within that. And I'm also seeing like trusting the shifts that are happening at the moment. There are some big shifts that are going on, but I guess in relating this to partnership, connections, agreements, contracts, this can even be like within work, friendships, doesn't have to be romantic. It's talking about making sure that things are balanced, things are communicated, and remembering to trust as well, and allowing room for trust to come into our connections, our relationships, the things that we are cultivating, and allowing trust to come into our connection and relationship with ourselves. So if there are things that we feel we're navigating at the moment, or things that are shifting or are particularly unknown, sources calling us to trust like the things that our intuition has already spoken to us, and trust the agreements that we've already made. I guess within this trust, this is highlighted. So this is a really strong Adinkra symbol for me, is about boundaries, and knowing how to implement boundaries. And so maybe that's a massive lesson for us this week within trust, even within our connections and relationships. I'm seeing this with family, with friends. Know what your boundaries are. If you need to identify them and write them down, do so. But this talks about it's okay for us to be firm when we are setting our boundaries with others, or saying what we desire or need or deserve. But there's a lesson within this, not to fully put another's flame out or replicate imbalance when we are setting a boundary, and to make sure that like as much as we are setting about boundaries firmly, we can also do that in a nurturing way. And that goes like the other way as well. Maybe there are some of us that aren't that great at setting boundaries with others, and this is a time for us to practice that this week, and allowing ourselves to be firm with other people, because that's not a negative thing either. It's sometimes you need to be firm or you need to be straight up. So Source is really calling us to communicate what our boundaries are, hone in on what our boundaries are, and allow our communication with ourselves or with others, or within our work or creativity. Allow those boundaries to be spoken and seen, because that's actually what's going to create more trust. If we don't communicate our boundaries in whatever setting, we can't really cultivate that trust that we're actually wanting. So these two things, Source is saying, it come hand in hand, boundaries and trust. As much as this also talks about us needing to respect our own boundaries, it also talks about respecting other people's. So making sure that we're noting what other people's boundaries are, what they're communicating, through body language, through what they're actually saying. Yeah, it's really interesting as well that this card came out, the UAC lights, because it talks about that there isn't, or that not all technological advancement is positive, which I think we know. For me, in my opinion, I don't really believe that technology is a negative thing. I just think it's how we work with it. And so this kind of reminds me of that. How are we utilizing our technology? It does really encourage taking breaks this week, really connecting and grounding in with our actual body. And as it is like the Matariki period, it's also a really beautiful time just to connect with your family, and to continue to cultivate that trust. So strengthen trust within our relationships, friendships, by just being there for one another as well. What else was being said? I also see that some of us might be needing to have some boundaries with technology. So maybe there's an overuse of technology, or just identifying what our boundaries are in terms of how much we share, how much we give out, how much we consume as well is a massive thing. So there also could potentially be a lot going on this week in the media or whatever. So, or maybe there isn't, but it's important for us, or there are reminders here to make sure that we're tapping into balance when it comes to technology and not over consuming things that we don't need to be consuming, and to create boundaries within that. I'm just going to read the ram's horns one and then elaborate on it. Oh yeah, okay, so this is just exactly what I was saying before. I guess it talks about like exerting power and not needing to exert power in imbalanced ways. And so maybe this is a major lesson for us this week, within our connections, relationships. Maybe there's going to be some like fiery energies this week, or a desire to express things that maybe we haven't been expressing. So as this is happening, Source is asking us also to remain grounded in this. But yeah, the major lesson with this is not replicating imbalance. So even if we are receiving certain energies from people or situations, environments, Source is reminding us that we can choose how to approach these things. And we don't always have to exert our power in colonial ways. I feel like when I feel like the world really mimics to us the power play and control issues that we have, and can have, especially within connections, contracts, commitments, whatever it may be. And Source is kind of reminding us, I guess, this week that when we don't replicate imbalance as well, that is a form of trust in Source and in ourselves, in the power that we have, that we innately hold within all of our beings. I mean, like, if you know who you are, which is true humility, is to know who you are, coming back to this ram's horns card. Humility isn't dimming yourself down. Humility is knowing exactly who you are and sitting within that energy. And I feel like Source is reminding us of that, reminding us to be humble in terms of know who you are, embody that, but you don't have to. It's not every situation or argument or conflict that we have to get up and prove ourselves within. And I guess a reminder within that is that is also our strength, is that we can sit or even stand within our power, but we don't always have to react or even respond to certain things. I'm even seeing this with social media, so some of us might be getting a little bit triggered or pissed off in some way through things that are spoken through social media or things that come up, and sources saying think before reacting, and it's not everything that we have to mirror. It's important for us to have boundaries, again, within technology and our connections, whatever that means personally to you. Okay, let me pull some tarot. Source Spirit, what guidance do you have for us, the collective, this week? Okay, we have Two of Pentacles. So there might be a little bit of juggling between work, home, and the things that are going on within our lives. So it's important for us this week to try find that balance. So staying grounded is really important. I'm also hearing asking for help. So if there are some of us that need help juggling the things that we're juggling, so yeah, Source is reminding us to ask for help whenever we need it. What guidance and affirmation do you have for us? Got Three of Swords. What guidance and affirmation do you have for us this week, the collective, Source Spirit? Got Queen of Chalices. Okay, so yeah, there might be some of us that are going through some sort of emotion that doesn't feel that nice, or heartache, or there could be still some breakup energy here. Overall, it's important for us to treat ourselves with compassion this week, and others. Maybe some of us are juggling something, missing someone, hurt. I don't know what it could be, really anything just related to yourself if it resonates. And I guess within this Three of Swords energy, yeah, we're being reminded to step a little bit deeper into compassion for ourselves if there's any of us that are moving through anything, any hurt. And compassion to self can look like being patient with the self, nurturing, so doing something that is nurturing this week for the emotions and really going within. The Queen of Chalices within the tarot represents going within instead of taking outside action. So giving ourselves this week nurturing time, even seeing like running a bath, being close to water. But compassion and calm are, I guess, the themes with that, especially if we're juggling a lot at the moment. There also might be some sacrifices that some of us are having to make this week as well. And that might be what's causing some sort of disruption or pain or something like that. And so within that sacrifice or even some sort of pause, yeah, we're being reminded to be compassionate for ourselves and others. And again, sometimes being compassionate for self is setting boundaries and being firm but nurturing. If you're looking at this, there's that parent energy here with the child. And some of us might be needing to nurture our inner child a little bit more. What guidance and affirmation do you have for us, Source Spirit, this week? Source Spirit, what guidance and affirmation do you have for us, the collective, this week? Okay, and lastly, we have Knave of Chalices and Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, so it's a really nice time to like nurture our inner child through our home as well, and through our, I'm hearing comforts within our home. Reminders this week not to overspend and overextend, but to be open to new connections and new like emotional experiences or things that really make our inner child feel secure. Maybe that's something some of us will be reflecting on this week, is what makes my inner child feel secure and stable within the home, within my work, within finances. Yeah, there's quite a big transformation, I feel like, that's happening within this energy. And so I guess a lot of us might be going deep within these questions. Yeah, and if we're struggling to answer these questions for ourselves as they are coming up, really looking at what your child self or inner child would want or dreams of or desires is probably the key. Yeah, so I think I will leave that here for this week. So going back to the start, we have the trust. So making sure that trust is enveloped within all our connections, our agreements with ourself and our ancestors and source, that we are keeping these boundaries this week and nurturing our boundaries and respecting others, that we're also taking time off technology, making sure that we're connecting in this actual reality, and making sure that we're not with the ram's horns mimicking imbalance, staying grounded in who we are, humble within who we are, but also knowing who we are at the same time. And then with these cards, there might be a lot of juggling this week between home and work and finding balance. Might be some like heartache or sorrow or whatever going on here as well. But we're reminded to be compassionate with selves, nurturing to ourselves, nurturing to our inner child particularly, and also really nourishing what brings us stability and security within our lives. So yeah, I'll leave that there. I'm sending you all heaps of love, and I'll talk to you soon.